My name is Lawrence Edwards, the owner of a company called Black Mountain Honey. Today I'm going to tell you why I'm delighted to have become a community spirit ambassador for Bees Abroad. So first, a little bit about me and my beekeeping. I got into beekeeping in a really strange way. I was out playing rugby one day and I came back from rugby battered and bruised, and the sky had turned completely black. You've never seen anything like it. And as someone who knew nothing about bees at that point, I was naturally terrified and petrified and had no idea what was going on. Turns out that a neighbour 2 or 3 doors down had some bees and they'd swarmed and they'd come into the garden, and luckily he came around, saved the day, and took the swarm and took it away and put it back into his beehives. And then I didn't really think anything of it at that point and thought, oh well, lucky we've got a beekeeper to come and save us from these bees when they come into our garden. And obviously knowing a bit more about bees now, it was definitely his bees that swarmed, but he came and retrieved them. Now that could have been the end of my beekeeping career, of my beekeeping hobby, but 7 days later, the exact same time, on the exact same tree, the same thing happened. How weird is that? So I came back from rugby, battered and bruised even more, played rugby every week, and the sky turned black again, like at the exact same time. So it was about like 5 o'clock, middle of the summer. I think it was about August, early August, and the bees all congregated on the same branch of the tree. And I just thought, like, this is a sign. This has to be a sign that I have to start keeping bees myself. So with the help of the beekeeper, he said, well, yeah, you can have them. We've got like a spare box, a nuke box, you know, we'll shake them in, we'll put them in your garden, and you are now a beekeeper. And I love the idea of that. I love the idea of like livestock and keeping animals, and anybody who knows me knows that I love food. So I thought keeping bees for honey, this is brilliant. I'm really excited about this. So from that colony, we turned it into 2 colonies the following year. Then we went to 4, and then within 4 years, I was up to 250 colonies of bees. Absolutely no idea how to manage them. We've changed things around since then. We've slightly adapted what we do at Black Mountain Honey. We don't have anywhere near as many colonies, but what we still have is a real fascination and love for all things beekeeping. Favorite thing that I love about beekeeping is the ability to be at one with nature. You can go out into the wild. You listen here, it's very quiet here today. Go out into the wild, very quiet. You just hear the bees. All you're focusing on is looking for a queen, looking for eggs, looking for brood. You taste the honey, you get the aroma coming out of the hive. I find it a very mindful experience, and one that is really good for your mental health. That's probably my favorite thing about beekeeping. So how did I find out about Bees Abroad? I was going to the beekeeping show in Telford in 2023, and I was doing a little bit of talking there, and we were doing like some live demonstrations, and we were looking for people to maybe be part of the demonstrations. And Alex Ellis, the owner, put me in contact with Bees Abroad and said, maybe you'd like to do something with Bees Abroad, either at the show or in the future. And from the initial contact at the show to the subsequent meetings on Google Meet or Zoom or whichever one we use, I was fascinated by not only the people that work for the charity, but the work that they do and their real sheer enthusiasm to make a profound difference. I was sold from day one, and I just want to do everything I possibly can now to make a difference for Bees Abroad. So what most interests me about the work that Bees Abroad does is obviously the intrinsic connection with the fact that we all keep bees. So I'm a beekeeper, and people in other countries are beekeepers as well. We can all share that common basic understanding of bees and beekeeping. But the work that Bees Abroad do goes far beyond the actual physical art and skill of beekeeping. It's not about managing bees. It's not about getting honey and putting it in a jar and eating honey. It's about the difference that beekeeping as a thriving enterprise can make to these communities. I love the fact that a little bit of money here planted into a community can thrive over the longer term, and not just thrive within that beekeeping arena. It can expand outside of it to bring real tangible benefits to both the community and outside that community as well. It teaches people how to manage themselves. It teaches people how to manage businesses, and it just brings a whole range of benefits to that community and to all of the stakeholders within it. So my favorite Bees Abroad story is something that has nothing to do with bees. And you think, well, Bees Abroad focuses on embedding beekeeping in these communities to provide tangible benefits. So you would think, well, it's going to be selling honey to produce money to, I don't know, build shelters or do something that the community needs. But my favourite story shows how it goes far outside the remit of beekeeping to bring about those benefits. So period poverty in Africa is a real issue for a number of women. There's not sufficient resource there or funding or money there to provide the resource that women experiencing periods need in terms of sanitary products. So my favourite story from Bees Abroad is funding was given to a community in order for them to create their own bee suits. Funding was given for a machine, like a sewing machine, and training so that they can create their own bee suits. They obviously did that. They created their own bee suits. They made beehives. They produced honey. They produced colonies of bees to sell to the farmers. But they went one step beyond that, and they looked at the products that they had there and the machines that they had there, and they said, well, we've got the machine. We've got the material. We've got the offcuts. So we can start creating our own sanitary products using this machine. It's not going to cost us any additional money, and we can help women who are struggling with period poverty. I just think that is a brilliant, really strong message and a great story from Bees Abroad to show how beekeeping is the catalyst, but the benefits extend far outside beekeeping as a hobby or a business. So why am I proud to be a community spirit ambassador for Bees Abroad? I'm really, really proud. I feel very honoured to be in this position and to have been asked to be in this position. I want to help Bees Abroad in any possible way that I can. I want people to understand the difficulties that communities in Africa are facing, and I want to help them understand how beekeeping can help them provide benefits to these communities. So you might see a few videos coming up from me with people making incredibly complex and intricate woven mud beehives, or felling damaged trees and turning them into top bar beehives. I want to help people take an active interest in these communities and hopefully support them as well. So the main fundraising event for Bees Abroad is between the 3rd of December and the 10th of December. It's called the Big Give. And if you donate some money during that period, it can potentially be doubled by the Big Give as long as we hit the £25,000 target. The £25,000 worth of funding there, if we collect another £25,000, we'll get a total of £50,000, which will be able to create an incredible impact upon these communities. So here is my plea to you. We live in the UK in relative luxury. We really do. We have everything that we want. We have schools, we have police, we have roads, we have food, we have all of the simple things in life that other communities around the world don't have. And if we forgo something really small, like our favourite takeaway or a coffee or something like that, and give that money to Bees Abroad via the Big Give, the impact that the cost of that takeaway or the cost of that coffee is going to have on that community is exponentially larger than the joy that you're going to have from that takeaway or for that coffee. So if you want to create a really profound impact upon these communities, it'd be really good if you could donate to Bees Abroad during the Big Give.